get started. Hey, what's up? It's the DeadEndRoad Show, episode 57, season 2, coming in hot. Bit of a slower week, but we got some stuff to talk about. I want to open up with something new for Dating is Dead. So you know about like those cringy dudes, like the pickup artists and stuff, right?
Sure.
That say like, you know, like these are the things you got to do to get women and get girls, and like they're like very uncomfortable and very awkward. And I was like, you know what would be funny is if we look at some pickup lines and see like what people are actually currently like saying that they think works on people. Okay. Like you there's like the old like, oh, are you an angel? You fell from heaven, like that kind of shit. Yeah. That's like seen as a joke, but it's like what are the modern ones? What's going on in 2022 that people are you know, trying to say works to try to get dates or something.
So are you going out and scouting the bars, or like what are you doing? How are you finding these?
No, I did a Google search for
Okay.
And so I found this website called Mantelligence, and I was like, oh God in heaven. And it's about what you'd expect. It's all about being the best manly man you can be. And there's like here's an article here, like 7 tips to how to look really attractive. And you know, it's just really, it's like what's that magazine? It's like not Claire's, that's the store. What's the magazine that's like this? Fuck.
Like GQ?
Yeah, like GQ, but like what's the one that's aimed at like women, or it's like seven tips to keep your man or whatever. Yeah. Like that kind of shit. Mm-hmm. So that's like what they're going for on this site.
Is this how you become a high value male?
Yeah, this is how you become a high alpha, high value sigma alpha male.
But you also need a podcast, right?
You do need a podcast, and then you have to start selling brain pills on that podcast.
So there's multiple steps.
Yeah. And
we have at least one of them down.
If you follow his website, you're going to get there and become an alpha brain sigma male. And so I want to see some of these lines that that'll get you a date. You just walk up to
Let me get my pen and paper.
Yeah. That you just walk up to a random stranger, someone you've never met before, and this will immediately get them to fall for you. So let's see what they got. This is a list of 144, and we're definitely not going to go through all of them. So you're so beautiful that you made me forget my pickup line.
Oh, that's a bit meta, isn't it?
It is. Yeah, there's a couple layers there. Yeah. Do you believe in love at first sight, or should I walk by again? Okay. Sorry, but you owe me a drink. Why? Because when I looked at you, I dropped mine. Now
somebody's gonna have to clean that up.
Yeah. Now that just kind of like, now you just kind of sound like a doofus, right?
I mean, I'm concerned that the floor is slippery now. Honestly.
Yeah.
Could be a hazard.
And this one has a note here, and it says, "Be sure to say this empty-handed."
Well, yeah. If you have a drink in hand, it's kind of.
I feel like that's kind of a given, right? Like you'd really fuck it up if you showed, like, you walked up to somebody with a drink and you said, "You owe me a drink because I dropped mine."
I think what you need to do is take your drink, throw it in her face, and be like, "You owe me a drink now," because I think that would be just as effective as this pickup.
Yeah, that'll have no complications. Yeah. Are you religious? Because you're the answer to all my prayers. This is basically the same as the falling from heaven thing. Same exact theme, same exact setup. Okay, here's no. This one definitely is. Are you lost, ma'am? Because heaven is a long way from here. And also, if you like, this is depending on age, right? Because like, if you call somebody in their 20s ma'am, I think you've already like offended them, right?
Why?
Like, because if you're younger, ma'am is like for older ladies.
Is it?
I think so. And then, because if you're younger, it's miss, right?
Oh, okay.
So this is dependent on age, this one. If you're going after the cougar set.
Or the churchgoers.
Yeah. The church. Yeah, if you're trying to pick somebody up in church. Yeah, a lot of religious,
The Sunday morning pickup lines.
Remember me? Oh, that's right. I've only met you in my dreams.
I think that's a Taylor Swift line.
It does. Yeah. And this one, the note here says, this one will throw her off in a good way. Will it?
It's debatable.
I don't know. Your hand looks heavy. Here, let me hold it for you.
Ugh. That's the first one where I've actually just like cringed a little bit.
Yeah, and then the note here says, reach for her hand, but don't grab unless she gives you the go ahead. Like, okay, at least we're...
I gotta say, mentioning consent is a pleasant surprise coming from a website like this.
Yeah, but that's pretty aggressive to walk up to a stranger that you've never met before and to try to grab their hand.
You miss 100% shots you don't take. Wayne Gretzky.
You miss 100% of the hands that you don't try to grab. Do you have a tan or do you always look this hot? Now, I guess this is only for white people, right?
Yeah, I guess.
This one's only for white people. You can't walk up to a black person and use this one. Okay.
Also, it's like a lot of people get like fake tans, so it doesn't necessarily mean that you've been out in the sun.
Yeah, that's true.
I'm just saying.
Do you have a name or can I call you mine? This one is also very aggressive.
Oh, I thought you were gonna say, "Can I call you mom?"
That would also be very aggressive. That's also for the cougar set. That's also if you're looking at the older crew. All right. This one's really all right. If I followed you home, would you keep me? That's threatening. That's threatening to me. That's threatening.
It's creepy at best.
Creepy at best, threatening at worst.
Mm-hmm.
I seem to have lost my number. Can I have yours? That feels like a classic one.
Sure.
You know what you would look really beautiful in my arms? Okay, that's really wordy.
Yeah, too much.
Yeah. Okay. My mom thinks I'm gay. Can you help me prove her wrong?
Oof.
That's
That's wrong on a number of levels.
Well, yeah, like what is that saying about you? Okay.
So what's the idea here is that you would hook up and then tell your mom about it? Or
yeah, the note here says introduce her to your parents immediately afterward.
Oh boy.
Immediately. You got to leave the bar. Go to your parents' place.
Well, I mean, you don't have to leave the bar. You could just call your mom. Maybe do like a video chat, you know?
Yeah. See, look, not gay. Not gay.
I mean, meeting the parents, that's an important step. So that's,
that is a lot. All under the pretense of not being gay. Do you work at NASA? I think your beauty is out of this world.
Mm-hmm. Heard that before.
Yeah. Okay. Oof. All right. Is your name Ariel? Cause we mermaid for each other.
I don't like puns.
That's really bad.
Mm-hmm. And also, in regards to the previous one, I would have went with the Space Force. Do you work for Space Force?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. They got to update the references.
Mm-hmm.
Are you a bank loan because you have my interest?
I mean, inflation's really tough these days.
Yeah. Are you predatory because I can't pay you off? Like what?
Whoa.
Like what are these references? Like
I know.
Are you Netflix because I could watch you for hours?
Mm-hmm.
They also need to update the references because Netflix is... I don't think anybody watches Netflix anymore.
I mean, that's okay.
Does your watch have a second hand? I want to know how long it took for me to fall in love with you.
I mean, that's just... You have to find somebody who is wearing a watch, which I feel like really narrows your prospects.
Yeah, there's just a lot of literal moving parts here.
Uh-huh.
Okay, I know someone who likes you. If I wasn't so shy, I'd tell you who. Okay.
I mean, that sounds like grade school.
Right.
Yeah, that's no.
What's the next step? Like what? And then she's like, okay, bye.
Mm-hmm.
Like what? Are you going to kiss me or do I have to lie to my diary?
These are just getting worse.
Yeah. It's hard to come up with 144, I guess.
It's fair. That's fair. Yeah, they have to pad out this list for sure.
If you were a Dementor, I'd become a criminal just to get your kiss. I think that's a Harry Potter.
Oh, is it?
Reference? Okay, this is another one. This is a Luna Lovegood. This is a Harry Potter. So now we're just doing Harry Potter pickup lines? What the fuck is this? Let's see.
I mean, I guess if you're going to do a pop culture reference, it can't be something obscure, obviously.
Do you know karate? Because your body is really kicking. Oof.
Yeah, I don't have anything to say about that.
Your name must be Coca-Cola because you're so delicious.
What?
Soda.
Oh, okay. Another pun. Yeah.
It's fucking awful.
Yeah.
Okay, this one's another creepy one. I'm new in town. Could you give me directions to your apartment?
No.
That's just weird, man.
Yeah.
I want someone to look at me the way I look at chocolate cake. Like, that's not a pickup line. That's just like something you'd see on like one of those coffee mugs or something.
Also, it's like are you trying to pick up the cake? I don't understand. It says nothing about the person you're talking to.
Yeah, that's like one of those Instagram like mom posts or whatever. Mm-hmm. Like you're just like saying that out loud. Like you're not talking to somebody. Okay. I'm no mathematician, but I'm pretty good with numbers. Tell you what, give me yours and watch what I can do with it.
What, like sim swap or what are we talking about here?
Yeah. Okay. Well, Jesus. Damn, I'm glad I'm not blind.
I mean, isn't that just like ableist?
Yeah, but just another, you could be saying that in general.
Just
like,
in general, yeah. It's like, I feel so fortunate to have my eyesight. It's a privilege. Fucking, what the hell?
The note here says she'll secretly love the compliment. Why would it be a secret?
Yeah, no, I expected like the cringy puns, but some of these are just so weird.
Mm-hmm. Okay, here's another, okay. Excuse me, can I borrow a quarter? It is an emergency. My mom told me to give her a call the first time I fell in love.
It's too elaborate.
Too elaborate, and also, again, with the whole mom thing.
Yeah,
Getting moms involved is just very weird.
I mean, maybe if you're like in high school, it makes sense.
Yeah, but also, like, do younger people even know that payphones existed?
That's a good point.
Oh man.
I mean, there are, I think they do. I might have mentioned this before because there's phone booths in Fortnite, and I feel like that's the only thing. Keeping them in the public's like consciousness.
Okay, so that's how you could tell. Like, you remember that thing from Secession, like where they were trying to like, how do you tell if somebody's too young for you? And it's like you ask them where they were on 9/11.
Yeah.
So that would be it for like. Like, you have to ask if they know what payphones are and how they know what payphones are. And if they say from Fortnite, they're definitely way too young.
Yes. Because like there are still other like pop culture things, right? There's obviously Superman, there's Doctor Who.
Yeah.
So
let me find one more and then we can stop this bullshit. If you're here, who's running heaven? Mm-hmm. Are you saying that they're God?
I mean, it's flattering, isn't it?
That's a lot.
It is a lot. A lot of these are a lot. Very intense openers here.
A lot of religious ones, but this one, you're implying that the person that you're going up to is God.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's different from the like, did you fall from heaven thing?
Yeah. What the fuck is that?
Start worshiping this person.
Right. You sound like an insane person. Mm-hmm. Like looking for Jesus.
Yeah, like I feel like this is a pickup line that would work on someone like Jared Leto, but
sure,
the common person, I don't know. It's a bit much. You need to have a very big ego.
Okay, all right. I said that was the last one, but here I just kept scrolling.
Yeah.
Are you the cure for Alzheimer's because you're unforgettable?
See, I don't know if bringing to mind a terrible disease.
Is
the way to go.
And then the note here says this one's risky because you never know what her grandparents have been through. Now, you have to do a cost-benefit analysis here. Does the risk is the appropriate reward worth the risk? Is the line that good?
Yeah, if the grandparent thing isn't an issue, this pickup line has a 100% success rate. I'm certain of it.
You never know what her grandparents have been through.
It's a big
Alzheimer's only affects grandparents.
Mm-hmm.
And no one else. Oh, God. Okay, those are some pickup lines from Man-telligence.
Let us know. Write in if you use any of these and how it went.
And what the best one was. Mm-hmm. They were very Man-telligent, I will say that much.
Oh, for sure.
All right. We got a little bit of a Moogle. It's going to be a different Moogle, but we're going to do one. Great. So I saw this story floating around this week about a Chinese VTuber who previously streamed on the Chinese streaming platform Bilibili. And she came back from a fairly long gap in streaming. She didn't stream for about 6 months. The VTuber is named Porin. I guess that's how you pronounce it. And during this like return stream after not streaming for half a year, she claimed that she was a victim of trafficking. She was basically kidnapped and eventually rescued, and so that was the reason for her break.
Oh my.
Yeah, and so there is a translated like sort of segment from the from her stream. This does come from Reddit, so I don't know how particularly accurate it is. But
it depends on the subreddit. Typically,
the subreddit is virtual YouTubers.
Okay. Okay.
So to tell you guys why I disappeared for half a year without saying anything, that was a dark night. I was on my way home, and I want to get home early to eat dinner. So I chose a way that's near my home, yet a remote route, just a very far off alley. Then I heard someone was calling me, so I turned back and some people came to me and said, "Your internet IP was hacked. We are police and you must come with us to make a statement." Then they took me on a van before I doubted it, and I still had my phone then. I didn't doubt them because they are policemen, so they pulled me in a van. And I texted my friend, "I am in a police car, so I will record your birthday blessings when I am home." Then that's the last thing I said, and it happened so abruptly that I didn't tell my family where I was going to. So shortly after I sent the message, they kept a close watch on me. They even have someone in the back seat to watch me. Then they took my phone, and I was so confused. Why would they take my phone away? But there's nothing to do. I didn't dare to say. So after that, they drove so far to a village I didn't even know where it is. And I was sold to a mid-age auntie. That auntie was always ordered me about. She beats me or scolds me if I didn't do well. Then the auntie smokes. It's okay if she just smokes. The problem is she doesn't have an ashtray. So she just puts out the cigarette on my arm. However, I found that even the frequency is low. She still leaves the house sometimes, so I found a certain timing to escape, but I failed. I thought this is the rest of my life. I am locked in this house forever. But I did not expect that half a year later, about the time I returned, police rescued me. They said I looked like someone on the missing list. So yeah, they rescued me. Maybe it's the silver linings. Though I lived in that place for 6 months without any contacts with the world. I have some minor injuries, and I have no idea what happened these days. I am back on streaming, and I am still optimistic. It doesn't bother me. I also seek for some medical or other assistances, so don't worry about me. I'm always okay. Basically, this video is explaining why I disappeared for half a year. And you guys worried about me, so I think I should explain that. And there comes this video, but I don't want to say too many negative... I don't want to bring too many negative energy to you. At the same time, I couldn't find a way to say that, to explain why I disappeared. Ultimately, I decided to tell you guys. Thank you for willing to wait for me for so long. And you must keep yourselves safe. Never be foolish as I am. I found that I'm kind of stupid after this incident. It's okay. It's okay. It's okay. For I came back safely.
Oh my God.
Yeah, it's a lot.
Oof.
So that was like the video. It was either a stream or like a video that she posted. And you know, it made its way over here. It was translated and everybody was very shocked, you know. Then not too long afterwards, her VTuber agency put out a statement basically saying that what she said was not true and that didn't happen. Okay. So her agency, Mofu F, and this is from like an esports website, because I couldn't find like any actual like articles about this. Sure. So Mofu F claimed she fabricated the story for attention on the internet, and the agency states that Chinese police looked into the story and, quote, verified the content is untrue. However, there has been no official statement from any sort of Chinese police body, and they haven't given any sort of other explanation for her 6-month hiatus. And they took down the original video of her explanation.
The agency did?
The agency did, yeah. Yeah. And I couldn't get an actual confirmation on this. Some people were saying that her Bilibili account was either suspended or banned. But some people were saying it was still up. So that's unconfirmed. And sometimes that's hard to see because of the the Chinese firewall.
I mean,
so this piece says like without like an actual investigation and without like a police statement, there's not a ton of information, and a lot of people just straight up don't believe what this agency is saying, and they definitely don't believe the Chinese police. And the Chinese police haven't actually said anything themselves. This is just coming from her agency.
Yeah, my first thought when hearing this is like, does the agency have a reason to say that this, like, do they have a motive for saying that she's lying? And obviously, if one of your employees was kidnapped, you would that's not good publicity for the agency, right?
So they might be being pressured by the Chinese government.
Oh, really?
To suppress a story about human trafficking.
Oh, that's actually even worse.
Yeah.
Jesus.
Because human trafficking is a large issue in China. It happens at a rate much higher than other nations. But the Chinese government doesn't claim, like they claim it's not a problem. So the fact that she was speaking out publicly about her experience with being trafficked, even though she claims that police saved her, they still might be, they still don't want that discussed publicly, especially because in the agency's statement, and this is a translation, so the English syntax is off, but they end it with saying it occupied social resources and had a negative impact on the society. So, which leads me to believe that they were potentially pressured by the Chinese government to make this statement.
Wow. This reminds me of a story from late last year with the professional tennis player who was who spoke out about I think like a high-ranking official, right, who had assaulted her, and then that statement got taken down, and this player like disappeared for a period of time, and then there was like that video that popped up where she's like, I'm okay, you know, nothing bad has happened to me, but it was not the most convincing video. It seemed like something that was staged, and I'm not sure the status of that story now. I haven't kept up with it, but this just kind of like reminded me of that.
And as of our recording, there hasn't been any further statement from Porin, the VTuber, or the agency.
Is she just like continuing to stream?
I don't know. I don't believe so. And so there are like some responses from her Chinese fans, like statements of support saying that they believe her. And this has caused some outcry in the West, obviously. But yeah, it's hard to tell because of the, like the Chinese firewall, like getting that information out. And I don't know how much of Bilibili actually makes it over here. Like some of it does, because there's been like Final Fantasy 14 streamers that like some of their raid strats make their way over here.
I mean, I feel like for somebody as dialed into the world of VTubers as you are, I mean, you would be sort of an expert on this subject.
I'm not that. I just see the clips, but I saw this actually on Twitter. But yeah, it's pretty wild.
I mean, hopefully, I after everything that you've laid out here, I would definitely lean towards believing the VTuber, right? But I just hope there aren't any more I hope that she isn't put in any further danger, right? Because when the government is on your case, that's a scary thing.
Yeah. Hopefully this would just be the end of it, right? If there was government interference, they just wanted to suppress the statement, and that's it. They'll leave her alone. Because I believe it. Like it's such an elaborate story. Like she has so many details that like just to explain why she didn't stream for 6 months. There's so many better ways to say that you took a 6-month break then like it just doesn't make sense.
Yeah, the way I think about these things is like, okay, well, what benefit does she have to telling the story? And there really isn't any. What benefit does like an agency or even the Chinese government have? And it's like, okay, we can see why they would be doing this, right? Suppressing the story. So it sounds pretty clear.
Yeah, like if she was doing it for attention, like what she would be getting sympathy stream views.
Yeah, that doesn't really add up.
And comments talking about like, oh, that must have been horrible. Like, why would you want that? You know, kind of quote unquote engagement,
especially living in a country.
Entertainer.
Especially living in a country where the government is known to try and suppress things like that.
Yeah, it just doesn't make sense.
No.
And she even says that like she like couldn't find a way to like say like talk about this.
Mm-hmm.
And so she just finally decided to say it. So it's like it makes it. I mean, it doesn't make sense like why this happened to this woman, but like it makes sense her explanation, right?
Right.
So yeah, it doesn't make sense if she like would just make that up. Like it's too convoluted. It's too messy just to explain a 6-month hiatus.
Yeah, what an just the unimaginable trauma of something like that happening to you, right? And then you escape it, and you just like you're able in some capacity to like get back to work,
mm-hmm.
and then this has it's so fucked. Yeah,
mm-hmm.
You put in the show notes that we have fun here, don't we?
Yeah,
we really do.
Yeah. After last week, I wanted to return to like just some goofy shit, which is why I opened with that pickup line shit.
Mm-hmm.
But then I saw this story and I was like, I feel like I want to talk about this. So anyway,
okay. I just had a couple things here, just some random stuff from this week. I was gonna bring up Drake's recent book haul post, but I didn't realize it was an Instagram story, and so I didn't like screenshot it or anything. So it's not up anymore.
Oh, okay.
But it was noteworthy because he periodically will just like post a picture of like a stack of books that he's intending to read.
Mm-hmm.
And on the latest one, it featured a favorite of the podcast, which is Otessa Moshfegh's My Year of Rest and Relaxation.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah. Also a couple of Sally Rooney novels on there too. So overall, just like a lot of really good stuff. I first saw this. I didn't see this on Instagram. I saw it was a TikTok, and the person on TikTok was skeptical about like this list, because like when you're somebody like Drake who has a ridiculous amount of followers, like you're one of the most popular like artists in the world, right?
Mm-hmm.
And you post something that is essentially a product, because books are products, right?
Yeah.
It's like there's this like skepticism that I think is pretty reasonable. It's like, okay, so is Drake truly reading these books, or is this like some sort of like maybe like a paid advertisement or just like an influencer thing?
Let me tell you. Publishers can't afford Drake.
That is a good point. That's a very good point. And also like all these
they can, but they won't.
Sure. And also like all these books are from different publishers too. So it's not like, So I think the takeaway here is that I think Drake should start a book club, because he seems to have very good taste.
Sure.
Yeah.
Although there has been a streak of celebrities like buying books in bulk as furniture, basically. Have you seen this?
I've heard of like purchasing fake books as like decoration. Like there'll be like titles of real books and like on the spines and everything. But then if you pick one up and open it, it'll be like just like blank pages or something.
No. There's a service that for wealthy people that will basically send you a shelf full of books and then like install it for you, so you have it as furniture, or call it artwork or whatever, just as a fixture of a room. And celebrities are doing this like they started doing it because of the pandemic, because they suddenly had to do a lot of video like calls and stuff,
right? And
they wanted the books in the background,
so it's like
as a backdrop. It's
a status thing too, right?
It's a status thing because this service is charging a whole heck of a lot of money. They're upcharging for a bunch of books. And I think the one that like sort of got everybody's attention was it Ashley Tisdale or something?
Okay.
It was like the Disney Channel. Ashley Tisdale bookshelf. Yeah. Yeah, Ashley Tisdale gets roasted for filling her bookshelf with books she never read. This is not an article, it's just a headline. What is this website? Okay, this is from Cosmopolitan. Cosmopolitan, that's the magazine I was thinking of.
Oh,
earlier.
was it? That's funny. That's a funny coincidence.
Okay, yeah, so she opened up her house to fans for a full home tour, but there's one moment in the video that has faced a bit of backlash from viewers online. Okay, I don't know why that paragraph repeats. Row of huge glass doors. She also has a huge row of bookshelves. These bookshelves, I have to be honest, actually did not have books in a couple days ago. I had my husband go to a bookstore and I was like, you need to get 400 books. My husband's like, we should be collecting books over time and putting them in the shelves. And I was like, no. We need them now.
Why would you admit this?
I don't know.
You could have gotten away with this if you didn't flat out tell us.
Yeah.
Right? Like,
yeah. So she's claiming she didn't use the service. She actually made her husband go out and buy all these books.
That's almost like, more insane.
Yeah. And he's like, well, no, we should just have the books that we have. And like, if we want to fill it with books, we should be buying books as we read them. Like, he's like being a normal person.
Yeah.
And she's like, no, we need these books for as a backdrop.
In the back of my head, I'm like trying to, because I read I think it was a short story recently, and I forget who it was by, but it was basically about this guy who, for status reasons, bought up basically that type of thing, just like a room full of books.
Mm-hmm.
And then he learns that there's like this myth about this book. There's like 1,000 books in this collection.
Sure.
And one of the books in the collection, one of the pages in one of the books will reveal to you like the secret to like happiness or something. And so he basically just like goes insane trying to weed through 1,000. It was a good short story. I forget who it was by though. I wish I remembered. But yeah, this is nuts.
Yeah,
very silly.
Mm-hmm.
Like, do you know any of the title? Like, was there anything that stood out in this collection?
I honestly don't think like you get close enough. Like, she's literally just using it as a backdrop.
Yeah,
she doesn't like take the camera close enough. Like, there's like some big hardcovers. Like, I think there's like a lot of cookbooks, honestly, like just based on the size.
Mm-hmm.
So like, yeah, fine. Like, it's just, you didn't need to do this.
Right.
But yeah, I don't know what that service is called. I wish I did, because it's pretty ridiculous.
Yeah.
It's like, okay, fine. If they're gonna buy books, all right, fine, spend money on the books. But like, I just like that her husband was like being normal about it. It's like, no, if we want to have books, we should just buy books that we want, like, and have them. And
he's like, I mean, I was happy using my Kindle, but if you really want to,
yeah, like.
You know, our library, we can get these for free. Like, we don't have to. She should donate them, honestly, after, like,
right.
I can't get over why you would just freely admit that.
I know.
I mean, to each their own, I guess. But like,
if you want to have the books, you can have the books, but it's just like, it's so unnecessary.
Mm-hmm.
And at least she's claiming that she bought them from a local bookstore.
Oh, okay. So she ended up she didn't use the service.
No, she's saying she didn't. So she made her husband go out and buy them.
Oh, so support your indie bookstores. That's great.
Yeah.
That's actually a good ending to this story.
Yeah. I that's appreciated. So.
You know, I've seen a lot of it seems to be like a pretty like trendy thing now for people to have those little like I almost think of them as like birdhouse type libraries at the end of their like lawn.
Yeah. The community library kind of thing.
Yeah, those are cool, huh?
Yeah.
I guess I've never noticed them before, or maybe they just like, it might be a pandemic thing too.
It was, yeah.
Was it?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
But yeah, that's pretty cool.
Yeah, I think my mom like just dropped some stuff off at one.
Yeah, I was thinking of,
and I think she put her book in one.
Yeah. Oh, she did.
Yeah.
That's a good way to market, right?
Mm-hmm.
Word of mouth.
I just didn't know where it was. She was just like, "Oh, I'm gonna go do this," and I was like, "Oh, okay." I didn't know where it was located though. I was like, "Oh, all right." That's the thing. If it's like so like you can't just open up Google Maps and be like, "Oh, yep, that's where it is." Like.
Yeah, there's one on my street, and then there's one behind me. So they seem to be popping up all over the place.
Yeah.
But you had a book in the show notes here that you read.
I did. Yeah. I couldn't remember if this was one that I gave to you.
You did.
Okay, yeah. did you get around to reading this one?
I did, and I told you that I did.
Right. My memory, you got to remember, my memory is fucking broken.
I'm just being annoying, but yeah, I did read it.
Okay, yeah, because I got around to it this week.
I read all the ones that you gave me.
Oh, cool. Okay, yeah, then I'm just slacking on the ones that you gave me. Yeah, so I read this week, and it kind of sat with me for a little bit, so I figured might be something to talk about. So this week I read Things Have Gotten Worse Since We Last Spoke by Eric LaRocca. And
such a good title, by the way.
It is, yeah. And it's a novella. It's only like 100 pages. Like I read it in, like, I don't know, a couple hours maybe. And the premise here is it's told through a series of email and IM transcripts in like the mid 90s. And so it's very much like the AIM, like the instant messenger kind of thing. Mm-hmm. So it's two characters that meet up on it was just like an LGBT forum, or was it like just a lesbian forum? I can't remember. But
yeah, I forget.
But so it's an LGBT forum. One character is attempting to sell an apple peeler. They're very flowery and romantic in the way that they speak. They're very idealistic. And so the two characters interact originally with the post about selling this apple peeler, and their relationship evolves from there. And it's very, it's mostly about how a relationship online can sort of devolve, and like how somebody could take advantage of a sort of idealistic and like romantic personality and see how far that they could take things.
Mm-hmm. I was going to say this almost would have been fitting to talk about last week with that whole story, the research that you did and the rabbit hole you went down, Yeah,
that's kind of why I figured I'd bring it up this week. Because it feels like really related, and just the idea of like how seemingly easy it is to take advantage of people online. Like obviously this is fiction, but like online, and manipulate aspects of their personality, even though there is like the distance of however many miles of geography and the distance of a screen. Like you've never seen this person, you've never spoken to this person, like you've never heard their voice, but yet you can still have such an impact on them, and you can push their buttons in exactly the right way to like make them like do your bidding, and that's sort of what the novella explores. And it gets really dark.
Oh yeah.
It gets really dark. And it's also like this idealistic personality, like, and how it can spiral into like, you see this a lot where, and I guess we might be talking about this a little later in Beautiful Cinema, like just very like sheltered people that don't experience much, and how they get fixated on things very easily.
Yeah.
And in here, it's like it's easily taken advantage of, and
especially when like you are in an online community where maybe some of those vulnerabilities are right out there in the open,
right?
And like those communities could be supportive and great experiences, or they could be like they could make somebody a target, right?
Yeah, like so, like this relationship starts off like in this gay forum, right, where it's meant to be like you have this commonality with people, and you're talking about your similar maybe backgrounds or struggles or issues or experiences, and so you have that common ground. But if you have somebody that is malicious, they can take advantage of that vulnerability and that openness, and that's basically what happens in the novella.
Yeah, it really is, like, it being a novella and very short, it does have like this trajectory to it with the characters. It's really effective because things really spiral rapidly, still believably though, and it's quite something.
Yeah, because since it's told through just their correspondences, like that's literally all you get. You get some framing in the beginning that this is like from police archives or whatever, to sort of set the tone, and also kind of maybe some tension to the proceedings. But it's strictly their communication, and so everything that happens in between, you have to fill in the lines, and you also have to infer based off of what they're saying to each other. And the one character who is very open is basically, spilling their guts about absolutely everything, and possibly literally. And the other one is very closed off, very manipulative, and is doesn't give the other person basically anything to work with, other than this I guess maybe like an outlet. I don't know. It's very much a one-sided relationship.
Oh yeah.
And it is set up as sort of like this dom sub, kind of BDSM, like findom kind of thing that they agree to. But then it goes from there.
Yeah, and for the reader, like it's very clear what's happening, and that that's what creates so much of the tension and the suspense, because it's the ending feels inevitable as you're going through it.
Yeah. But yeah, it's a creepy little 100 pages if
sure
if you're in the mood. But like it definitely gives you like just similar to like the stuff that we've been talking about lately, where like these relationships and communities on the internet,
like we're all going to the World's Fair, right?
Yeah, just like either go bad, or like the way that they can affect specific personalities. Yeah, I really thought it was great.
Yeah, it's from like an indie horror publisher that I'd never heard of. I would have not known about this book if you hadn't gifted it to me.
Yeah, I can't remember where I'd seen it originally, but I put it on my list and thought it might be a good read, and it turned out it was. So
definitely.
Now you put in here a follow-up to something we talked about several months ago.
Yes, long-time listeners will likely not forget the story of Stephanie Matteau, the reality star from 90 Day Fiancé, who found a lucrative opportunity in selling her farts in a jar. So yeah, there's a follow-up story from this week. There are a couple of developments to the story.
Okay.
Even from the time that I put it in the show notes. So basically, yeah. So the newest venture from this entrepreneur, Stephanie Matteau, transitioned from the fart jar to selling her boob sweat.
Okay.
So yeah, so she's been bottling up jars of her boob sweat, sitting outside in her yard by her new pool that she built.
With the proceeds from the fart jars.
I can only assume. So yeah, she's selling the sweat in these like vials here, and they're apparently going between $300 and $500 each. And she says that she's averaging 5,000 a day.
So that's 10 vials?
Yes, 10 vials, which like that's a lot of sweat.
That's a lot of sweat.
That's a lot of sweat. So I thought this was like a noteworthy story, in its own right. Quite the entrepreneurial spirit here.
Sure.
However, this development here, which I could not have seen coming, her sort of routine of going into her backyard and hanging out in the heat and the sun the afternoon has been halted because there has been the presence of a bear in her yard that has caused her whole production line to come to a halt.
The supply chains, man.
Supply chain
getting fucked up.
Yeah, so this bear has been kind of hanging around her property, and so she's very understandably not able to go outside and enjoy the afternoon sun, and therefore is sweating much less often, and so the production has been halted.
I think the bear just got a whiff,
So
yeah,
that's the type of thing that they're attracted to.
The sweat, yeah, it's just kind of. She's apparently pumping out a lot, so
yeah.
So she doesn't have like an elliptical in the house or something. She can just kind of get a workout in, or
I don't know. I mean, I guess it's hard to replicate the sun in the climate crisis that we live in, you know?
Yeah.
I mean, also just like kind of like laying out and hanging out in the heat is different from like actively working out.
Does it change the chemical makeup of the boob sweat?
Well, I just mean like from an effort standpoint.
Oh.
It's probably still worth it if you're making 5,000 a day.
Yeah.
But this is all from a TMZ article, by the way.
Sure.
Because of course it is. But it does appear that she has been able to resume her production.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So it's just from the boobs.
Well, from the underneath, from the underboob.
From the underboob. Okay.
Yeah. You know, she's kind of like holds the vial down there, or I don't know how she's like.
Or is she taking like a towel and then like wringing the towel into the vials? Either way, that's a lot of sweat.
I know that there was like a Big Brother competition where you would have to like take a sponge or something and like wring it out into like this big container. Mm-hmm. And whoever filled it up the quickest wins. I feel like if they want to like spice things up a little bit, maybe they can maybe take some inspiration from this.
So all right. So my question is, where does she go from here?
Oh, interesting.
You know, because clearly,
I would definitely ride this out for the summer.
Sure. But winter is coming. The Starks, were warning us every season.
Yeah.
So what happens when, December rolls around? So,
I mean, she's been very creative with this, but I feel like there are people out there, like she could probably just like spit in a cup and sell it. Like, I really feel like
hey, that might be something,
Yeah, there doesn't need to be this level of like creativity, but I do appreciate it though, because it makes for a good story.
All right. So that's my question is like, she seems to have an insatiable audience, right? They wanted the farts. They needed the farts.
And they got them.
They got them.
Oh, wait, did we cover her going into the emergency room?
Oh, yeah.
Okay, yeah, because too much fiber.
There was too many eggs. She had too many eggs. Her cholesterol was too high. Oh,
see, this story was talking a bit about what happened in December where she had too many fiber bars.
Oh.
While doing the fart jar thing. And so maybe this is a separate emergency room trip, potentially?
She was having heart trouble because of she was having too many eggs and beans. So she went again. Huh. Mm-hmm. Okay.
I would say that this new method seems safer, but it is a lot of time in the sun. I do hope that she's stocked up on the sunscreen.
Yeah, she has to check the SPF,
Yeah.
If she gets any moles.
What's that? The pickup line or
is that a tan or are you just too hot or whatever? Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm curious where she goes from here.
Well, that we will, we'll be the first to let you know.
We're gonna hear about it. Now, is this all some sort of like dark ritual? Do you think?
No, God, people can turn anything into like a satanic conspiracy theory.
But hold on. She's got jars of farts, vials of sweat, eye of newt. She could toil. She could start brewing something. Or are her clients okay? Here's the thing. Maybe her clients are actually not perverts. Maybe
it's very hard to believe.
Maybe they're witches.
It's actually, no, there's no way. It's like, I'm not going to shame somebody for what they're into, but much easier to believe that these people are enjoying the farts for their own purposes rather than being witches.
Yeah. What the fart? I don't personally understand the pleasure derived from it, but I can understand the mechanics of it, where you smell it, right? Like that is your that is what you're doing with it, right?
It makes sense.
The boob sweat. Mm-hmm. How are you?
I think it's even easier to imagine. You're drinking it.
You're drinking it? You're drinking the boob sweat?
think so. Or you're pouring it on yourself or something.
Ooh, boy.
Thing is, like, it's we discussed this last time. The fart jar, that's one-time use.
Yeah.
You open up the lid and you have it, and then it's gone.
Right.
I do feel like you get a bit more value with the sweat.
Well, if you're drinking it, that's just like a shot, you know?
Yeah, but I guess there's what I'm saying is there's like
shot chaser, sweat, fart jar.
There you go. See, I don't think these people would have the self-control to hold on to the fart jar for this many months. I think those are all used up by now. Yeah.
There's one out there. One dude's holding on as a collector's item, trying to get the resale value.
It just goes up in value.
Yeah.
Up in value as time goes on. They become more rare.
Yep. Man.
But yeah, I thought we had to cover that for sure.
Sure. Yeah.
Another thing that happened this week that caught my attention, we talked a couple weeks ago about the actor who staged a climate protest in a Starbucks.
Yes. The guy from the Succession, the older brother of
right.
Logan Roy. I forget his character name, but yeah.
And so, we appreciated, or at least I appreciated the messaging, but like the effectiveness of it was up to question. This week we have a story out of the Louvre. So this Frenchman went to the Louvre disguised as an elderly woman in a wheelchair.
Are we sure this wasn't Johnny Knoxville?
I'm not sure Johnny Knoxville speaks French. But so this person was dressed as a wheelchair bound elderly woman in order to get a good spot front to take a look at the Mona Lisa. But what this person did instead of admire the smile, that iconic smile, was they took a cake and they smeared it on not on the Mona Lisa, but on the bulletproof glass that protects the Mona Lisa. So as the security people led him away, the man told the crowd in French, he said, "Think about the earth. There are people who are destroying the earth. Think about it. All artists, think about the earth. This is why I did this. Think about the planet." But yeah, this was a climate protest by smearing cake on the Mona Lisa.
I don't get the symbolism quite.
I guess the idea here is that all these people are preoccupied in appreciating artwork instead of thinking about the climate crisis.
Okay. I don't think the art is the problem.
Oh. I mean, the climate was not in a crisis when the Mona Lisa was painted.
I don't think we should blame Da Vinci for using oil paints. I don't think that's the... I don't think that's the oil we should be worried about.
It's not big oil paints?
No, I don't think that's the big concern.
Yeah, so again, it's like I do appreciate that, this person's concerned about the climate crisis. I just don't know if this is the way to go about it.
I don't think so either. It seems quite misplaced. How did he smuggle a cake?
I guess if you're an elderly woman in a wheelchair, you can kind of get away with certain things.
The privilege.
Yeah, I guess. But yeah, and then I saw this story, like the Mona Lisa has been attacked quite often throughout history, and I don't fully understand why.
I guess because it's like the most famous painting.
Guess that's why, right? But it's like, what did she ever do to anybody?
I don't think anything. I don't know. It's got to be, since it's so famous, it's got to be like such an object of delusion for people. And like there's all the conspiracy, like, oh, who is she, all that kind of shit, The
who is she is it's part of the appeal to the painting.
Yeah,
the smile and the different like perspectives you can interpret with the smile or the smirk or the the different like ways of looking at it, right?
Yeah, and like all that Da Vinci code bullshit, like secret imagery and all that nonsense,
That's a bit beyond me. I don't really necessarily understand or really even care about.
It's all bullshit.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean I can see it being, it's just very funny to me that it's bulletproof glass. like it's the Pope or something.
Yeah. I was going to maybe, no, I'm not going to do this transition. Yeah, you have an idea, but I don't know if you want to talk about the serious thing that we have in the notes here.
Oh, yeah.
I was going to say something about France protecting its artwork better than the U.S. protects children.
Yeah.
It's the low hanging fruit that I go for.
Last week I was going to go off on a very angry rant about the response to the shooting. But it's like, you've seen it. Everybody's angry. What's it going to do? But then Joseph Biden, he makes his way down to Uvalde, Texas. And he's got the children of, or he's got the parents of the deceased children who were slaughtered in their classroom. And they're pleading with him to, for the love of God, do anything about mass shootings. And his response, he gave it a thumbs up.
Excuse me?
He gave a thumbs up.
1 or 2?
I think it was just 1.
Okay.
So
there's no verbal response. I mean, we're not entirely sure that he can come up with a full sentence anymore, but like there was no verbal response to this.
No, he gave a thumbs up. So on the what is it, the Ebert and Roper scale? he gave the Uvalde shooting a thumbs up.
Jesus.
So that's where we're at. Please, God, do something to stop 20 children from being killed in their classroom as police looked on for 50 minutes as they could hear children being killed and hear children screaming help. Thumbs up.
I don't know what to say. It's just so bleak.
I think this is worse than Trump doing the 3-pointer with the paper towels in Puerto Rico after the hurricane.
Yeah.
I think this is worse.
Oh God.
So that's where we're at. I think this whole America project. I think it's time to put a bow on it. I think we're done. I think.
No, it is very much in line with the Puerto Rico thing because he did this very offensive gesture, and then the U.S. completely ignored Puerto Rico in a time of crisis, and that's essentially what's happening here.
Yeah.
It's basically the same thing.
Yeah.
Fucking hell.
Please help. Thumbs up. Catch you later. Midterms coming up. See you around, kids. Mm-hmm. Just incredible.
Yeah. So, like, when people, when a shooting happens, and people make the response of like, calling out for change to gun laws, as should be the case, opponents of that will be like, "Oh, this is not the time to be making a political statement," right?
Mm-hmm.
Which, like, obviously that's bullshit. But like in this case, this is just simply Biden making a very empty political move here.
Is it a political move? It's nothing.
It's empty.
It's nothing.
It's just like it's like a photo op, right?
He might as well have put his fingers in his ears and went la 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 la. I can't hear you.
Yeah.
Like, come on.
I saw there was an elected official in Colorado, Republican, which probably goes without saying, said this week, he was like, we use AR-15s to, it's the gun of choice to shooting raccoons to protect our chickens.
Well, then you're bad at shooting raccoons.
Well, for one, yes, you're bad. Yes. But also that implies that chickens are of higher importance than school children.
Well, no, because they want to put more of the AR-15s in the school to quote unquote protect the children.
Oh, right.
So
the soldier thing.
Yeah. So they're of equal importance, the children and the chickens.
Oh, okay. But the thing is, like, there aren't any armed raccoons that come in and shoot up the chicken coop.
Because if there were, the police would flee in terror.
Sure. So this analogy isn't quite lining up.
No, it's not. It's not, because it's fucking stupid. It's stupid to talk about raccoons and chickens when there are dead children.
Somehow that's even stupider than the Ted Cruz door comment.
They because this is they're like past the bottom of the barrel. They dug through the bottom of the barrel and are digging into the earth now.
Right, because
That's
before
where
it
they're
was
at.
because before it was the good guy with a gun argument.
Yeah.
In this case, the quote unquote good guy with a gun just stood out and did nothing.
Yeah.
So they can't use that anymore.
Yeah, which meanwhile, the same thing happened in Parkland. Like this has been happening. The good guys with the guns have done fucking nothing. They've run away in cowardice every time.
Which, like, fucking fair enough, to be honest. Like, people should not have to be in a situation where they need to enter a room with an active shooter. But that just speaks to the fact that we need to get rid of guns in as many.
Yeah, but when you're a fucking cop, it's part of the job and you pretend Well, technically it's not. There have now been court cases where they literally do not have to.
Right. Okay.
But they pretend like they're going to is the problem.
Right.
So if you're not going to, but you're going to pretend to, what are you doing? Mm-hmm. Billions of dollars, all the military equipment in the world to stand around. You need billions of dollars in military equipment and literal tanks to arrest black people for smoking weed.
Right.
But not stop an active shooter.
This is why the ideology of abolishing the police makes so much sense, because all that insane amount of money for something that in most cases is more harmful than anything else, that is the police.
They're fucking useless.
Yeah.
They're fucking useless cowards.
At best they're useless. At worst they're actively harmful.
Yeah.
All that money that goes into them could be used for so many other more beneficial, like, community purposes.
Literally anything else.
And that's basically the idea behind abolishing the police, right? Because, like, people think that's like such a radical stance, but really when you lay it out, it's not. It's just like common sense.
Use that money for literally anything else. Literally anything. Mm-hmm. I mean, obviously it wouldn't. Like say by some miracle, right? Police are defunded. You know that money's immediately going to the military.
Yeah.
Immediately.
It's sad, but it's true. Yeah. Actually, like, defunding the police is even a less quote unquote radical thing than abolishing the police, I guess. But either of those things seem to be a hard sell, mostly because of propaganda, right? Yeah.
People still have this idea that even just the presence of the police deters crime, when it doesn't. There are statistics it does not. And the police don't even solve crime. There are statistics that prove that they don't even solve crime. Like, just look at how many stolen cars. Like, it's like that's just all right. Your car stolen. That's just a lost cause. Like, it's done. Break-ins. The police show up.
Sexual harassment statistics.
Well, yeah, that's just a given. They don't even like file those reports. Like, but for like just a home invasion or whatever, they'll like write it up after they show up. Several hours after it happened, they'll file a report, and that's the end of it. You're out of luck. Like, they don't do anything. Do anything.
And
speeding
it's deeply on top of all that, it's a deeply racist institution too.
Right.
So it's like just so awful.
Thumbs up.
Man, I missed that. That's really rough. Even for like Biden standards, that's really rough. Just don't be seen. Like, it's better to not be seen than do that. Yeah, it's either he's doing that or he's making these very empty statements on Twitter about,
he's saying the same shit that the parents are doing. Can please somebody do something? And then he's gonna tweet that later. Right. Why won't somebody do something? I don't know, man. You're the fucking president. Mm-hmm.
I'll tell you, like, I don't know exactly what is involved with passing certain legislation. Like, I guess it depends on like what part of the country, and there's all sorts of factors, but like all I know is that Donald Trump was able to pass a lot of really horrendous stuff in his 4 years. So it seems like the presidency comes with a good amount of authority, right? Like, so there has to be something.
There's executive powers, and he's not doing shit, and he's not even attempting to do shit. Like, say some of that would get held up in Congress, or they challenge it or whatever. He's not even attempting anything. Not even trying.
It's almost like a defeatist attitude. Like, it's not gonna, somebody's gonna block this, so I'm not even gonna put it out there. Which is exactly what the people. Yeah, it's exactly what the people blocking it want to happen.
Every fucking time. Oh, we can't do this. Oh, now all of a sudden there's a Senate parliamentarian that the rules, the mystical rules that aren't in any constitution or whatever the fuck.
I am so sick of this goddamn constitution that was written like 400 years ago, in a country where most people didn't have rights.
That's a bullshit thing. That's a bullshit thing. Remember whenever we were told in school that like the Constitution was supposed to be a living document and that changes were supposed to be made to it as needed? Remember that whole piece of bullshit?
Yeah.
Yeah, that was fun. But then they'll just pull out fucking rules and shit that aren't in the Constitution and say that they're, these immutable facts that can't be changed, fucking no term limits for the Supreme Court, Senate parliamentarian bullshit.
Mm-hmm. Hey, Roe v. Wade was precedent until it wasn't.
Right, until they just decided. It's like, okay, fine. Like your whole justice system is built on precedent, and then you just like shit on it. Okay, like so then none of this matters. All right.
No, none of it.
So public school isn't in the Constitution, and there was precedent for public schooling. So now all of a sudden there's not. All right, cool. No public schooling anymore. Everybody's gonna be a fucking Quaker now. Got it. Fun. Like what the fuck? Okay, cool. This whole it's a doomed project. It's time to wrap it up. Clock's ticking.
Yeah.
Clock's ticking. Let's go. On to the next one. Let's go.
Like I don't want to sound too defeatist because there are people like that. You look at somebody like David Hogg, for example. He was a kid at I forget which school.
It was Parkland, wasn't it?
Was it Parkland? Yeah, he was a student at Parkland. And he's went through a mass shooting firsthand, and then he became one of the most outspoken activists and is still just like fighting tooth and nail for literally anything.
Yeah.
Any sort of progress. So like, but man, it's bleak.
It's fucking rough. Like I pick up my brother from school, right? He's got, mercifully, he's got like, I don't know, 2-3 weeks left. A couple weeks back, I'm waiting, I pick him up like a block away from school, and it's like 10 minutes past or whatever, and then I get a text from him. He's like, yeah, we're in lockdown. I've been in lockdown for a half hour. And I'm like, oh, okay. Is it a drill or anything? And he's like, no, we think it's a stabbing. And I'm like, oh, okay. He's like, yeah, I'm fine, but we've been in lockdown for a while. And so then I'm like waiting in the car like, well, shit, It
feels like that is as commonplace as like, oh, we have an assembly today.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, it's just so normal.
And like when we were in school, we had fucking shooter drills all the fucking time. And,
yeah, we did.
And it's like, yeah, and like I guess like, they're trying to theorize like what's going on in the school. Like, so like he's giving me updates and shit. And meanwhile, I'm like in Big Brother mode. I'm like, okay, like I have my windows down listening for like sirens and shit. And like, I don't hear anything. It's eerily quiet out there, And I pick him up slightly early because he's a senior, but then like it's getting closer to time, and like so other parents are coming, like traffic's building up and all this shit. And like I haven't heard anything. He's like, are the cops out there? And I'm like, no, I don't hear anything. It's so bizarre. And he's like, yeah, it's like we just had administrators come in to make sure we were okay and all this shit. And like I'm in full Big Brother mode. I'm like, okay, like if I hear like like a pop or like a scream, like I'm just like gonna floor on the gas and like bust it to the front to like grab and go, like get him, like I'm like just
be in a spot. Like a getaway car.
Yeah. Like
what else can you do?
Yeah. Like I'm gonna get him the fuck out of there. Like, know, and like, this is like all go through my head. Like as I'm texting my mom and dad being like, hey, this is what's going on. Like I'm fucking here. Like, I'm not going anywhere. Like, and then I get a text from him saying it's like, yeah, somebody accidentally triggered the alarm. So, coming out now. And that was it. And then I heard clapping after he said that. Because I guess there was like an announcement.
Yeah.
I was like, what the fuck? So it's like, yeah, so obviously there weren't sirens or anything because like there was no emergency. Somebody had just triggered the alarm like in the office. Like it wasn't like a student like pulled a fire alarm or anything. It was in the office. They triggered it.
Yeah, because like sometimes there'll be like a science experiment that goes bad or something.
Yeah, something happens, or whatever. Or like they do an unannounced drill or something. Right. But no, this was a complete accident.
I saw somebody on Twitter, I forget who it was. They were like, should we just like stop doing shooter drills in schools? Because is it really making any sort of difference? Is it just really just like making kids afraid more than anything else?
I don't know. Does it, like, what is it, like, the way that the shooter drills were designed for us was always to stop somebody from coming in from the outside, right?
Mm-hmm, yeah.
But, like, aren't these cases usually a student of the school? Like, I know this, Uvalde wasn't, because it was, an elementary school. So that was somebody from the outside. But, like, usually isn't it a student of the school?
Yeah, the threat's usually coming from inside.
Yeah.
Like, yeah.
So, because, like, I kept seeing all this shit about, like, all these fucking parents saying, well, you can't even get into my kid's school. Like, you have to ring the bell and, like, there's a camera and all this shit. It's like, so you can't even get in. It's like, yeah, you can't. But
it's like Ted Cruz's door theory. It's completely missing the point.
But the kids can. The kids can get in, and it's the kids with the guns. The kids that get the guns and come in and shoot up the place. Like, that's the problem.
Yeah, so I don't know if we should stop doing the drills or not, but I know it's definitely not the answer to any of this.
No, it's like, yeah, I don't know how, like, what the drills are going to do. Like the kids, like, in Texas, they did what they were supposed to do until the cops told them to yell if they needed help.
Yep.
Which is what they were not supposed to do. They were told not to do that, and then the cops tell them to do that. They do it, and they get shot.
Yeah, I saw a story of, like, one of the kids, this is, like, a fourth grader, smeared blood on her and played dead to just, like, survive.
Yeah, it's fucked.
It's like these kids who survive are just traumatized for life, basically.
Right.
But I heard the NRA convention was a big success, so not really.
Fucking bleak.
Yeah.
Thumbs up.
Like you said at the outset, like everybody said what can be said at this point.
Yep. We got some movie discussion.
Mm-hmm.
That's beautiful cinema.
Yeah, it is. It is.
Yes, it is. It is, Mr. Lynch. I agree. Yeah, so we're talking Shithouse this week. The directorial feature debut from Cooper Raiff, who, if you want to feel bad about yourself, he made this film when he was, I believe, 22.
Huh.
Yeah. So yeah, this is he's the lead in it himself, and he plays a college freshman who is struggling to fit in, and the other star of the film is Dylan Galula, who he meets and, like, spends a long night with. She's like his RA at the dorm. So this movie, like, gets into, like you were saying, it kind of ties into some of these themes about, I guess, like, vulnerable people in situations that maybe they're a bit repressed, or, I mean, ultimately, like, it's not like bleak in the same kind of way. I'm not setting this up very well. I guess I'll ask you what you thought about this film.
I enjoyed it.
Okay.
The first half was a little too real.
Oh yeah.
A little too real.
Yeah, that's why when I mean by I didn't set it up, I was like, this movie feels very, very genuine, like a very, very much a lived experience, and one that's, like you just said, like, quite relatable for, I'm sure, quite a few people.
Mm-hmm.
That's sort of like first shipping out to college, right? And struggling with, like, a new environment and everything.
Yeah, because, like, college sucked for me. Like, looking back on it. Like, for some different reasons, but for some similar reasons.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I had a similar dorm experience as what the movie portrays, except everything was Catholic.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
So, like, you wouldn't have girls on the same floor and shit like that. And, like, you definitely couldn't have alcohol on campus. And
is that in, like, quotation marks?
Like, well, you definitely couldn't. Like, if you were caught, you were, like, expelled, kind of thing.
Oh my, that is severe.
Yeah, and also there was, like, you kind like they kind of couldn't distribute condoms and things like that. You know, like, it was, like, very Catholic in that way. Like, you know, like, yeah. Sorry. It wasn't that, like, you weren't allowed to have girls on your floor, but I think there was like a curfew.
Sure.
Like, have girls on the floor. It was so bizarre because, like, they like separated it. So, like, in my dorm, there'd be like a girl's floor, and then above that a boy's floor, and then above that a girl's floor. Like, you know, like, so like you could just go up the stairs. Like it wasn't.
Right.
Like, and also the RAs were not like just a year above you. Like they were like juniors and seniors.
That's no fun.
So there was more of a separation.
Actually,
of
I
that.
think that was the case for me too.
Yeah. So that was like, and you definitely couldn't have pets.
Right.
And you
Right.
definitely couldn't smoke because there were smoke alarms fucking everywhere.
Mm-hmm.
Although people would disable them and try to put towels down like under the doors or whatever, and
Yeah.
open the windows to try to like block out the smell. But it's like, no, the entire floor smells like weed now. Everybody knows. Everybody knows it was you.
Mm-hmm.
Like, come on. So yeah, it was very similar.
I was gonna say I had a troubled sort of dorm experience my first year, which at the time I would have told you was, I had an awful roommate, right?
Yeah.
And I would have stood firm on that stance. But over the years, I've sort of realized that maybe if it wasn't if it might have been me, like I might have been the bad roommate. What I think it was is a lack of communication is what sort of caused issues, which I think as someone who's like 18 or 19 living with another person for the first time, that's like, you know, maturity level, like that's kind of understandable, you know, like almost to be expected. So yeah, like that's all to say that this movie did strike a chord in certain areas. Yeah. My roommate was fine,
Sure. Except for like the time that he told, I don't know what you would call it, like the residence administrator. I don't know, whoever was in charge of like the dorms, basically, that like I might have been suicidal.
Whoa.
Yeah, and it was just like, okay, because like I was like sick for a couple days, so like I didn't leave the dorm or whatever.
Right.
And so like, and I didn't really talk to people.
Sure.
And so then there was like this stupid meeting basically where we had to watch a video about like if you notice somebody that's suicidal or something, you should like say something. And so like if they're antisocial and withdrawn or whatever. And so like the next day I get a call saying that I have to meet with this like administrator basically. And they're basically like, hey, like, are you good? And I'm like, yeah. And like, yeah, because your roommate is like concerned. And I'm like, what? So that was weird.
Yeah, I'm sure that made it pretty awkward afterwards.
It did. Was
there any like discussion about it between the two of you?
Kind of. He was just like, yeah, I was just kind of worried after that video thing. And I was like, yeah, I'm okay.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. Is it not reasonable to directly talk to the person instead of like going and reporting? I mean, I know that's what the video said. Like,
yeah, I don't know, because like we didn't talk to each other really.
Okay, yeah.
So
once again, communication here seems to be the main.
The problem is that we had nothing in common. Like we had nothing in common.
Mm-hmm.
Like he would watch like the Kardashians and HGTV, and I think he was gay. Which whatever, man. But like we didn't have any common interests or anything or like to talk about. And it like as far as roommates go, it was fine because like he was very quiet and like kept to himself and you know, was clean. So like
that's a big
yeah. So like it ended up being fine.
Sure.
But like there was just not any like potential friendship or anything there. It's like we had nothing to talk about.
Right. You're not going to start a podcast.
No, we weren't. So yeah.
Yeah, that kind of reminded me, maybe to give some indication of where the maturity level was at for me. I do remember being kept up very late into the night one night by a roommate, and so I tweeted about it.
Okay.
And not realizing that one of the roommate's best friends like followed me on Twitter and like immediately told him about it.
Okay, you just triggered something for me. The same fucking thing happened to me.
Yeah,
the same fucking thing happened to me.
I'm not surprised.
Because, all right, so this dude, he went to bed super early, like really early. Like I'm talking like 8 o'clock. Like,
Whoa.
I go to bed early. At the time, I kind of didn't go to bed early, but he would go to bed really early. And he also used a white noise machine.
Mm-hmm.
And so he would need to turn that on really early. And so I tweeted about it. And it was something dumb. It was just meant to be a joke because at the time I was really dumb and I would like live tweet like Pittsburgh sports when nobody gave a shit.
I remember that.
Yeah. So I tweeted something like, how the fuck are you going to go to bed during a Steelers game or something?
Dumbass.
I know. Yeah. And then I was like, and then I did a follow up and I was like, and you have this like weird ass. At first I didn't know what the white noise machine was. And I thought every night he would turn on the coffee maker because it was, the white noise machine was, it would make ocean noises. So it would just be like water going.
Oh.
And I thought it was the coffee maker. So he would turn the coffee maker on at night. So he would have it for the morning. And I was like, and you turn on the coffee maker 12 hours before you need it or something stupid like that.
Nice.
And so his friends didn't follow me, but they found my account and told him about it. And so he also told that administrator. And so in that meeting, the administrator also brought that up. And I was like, yeah, that was dumb. I really don't have a problem with him. I'll apologize. And I really don't have an issue with him. It was just a dumb thing to say online. But yeah, I did the same fucking thing where I tweeted about him.
It's incredibly stupid, but it's teenagers.
But yeah, but it's also weird because like he didn't follow me, and I didn't know his friends at all, and so
That's
yeah,
weird.
it was weird that they like found my Twitter account and
Should have been in the clear, unlike me, who the
yeah
people directly followed.
Yeah, but yeah, that was. But like I honestly didn't have an issue with him really. It was.
I mean, I currently use a noise machine almost around the clock nowadays.
I just have my TV. Like I need something on the TV.
Mm-hmm. I do like actual like I don't know, it's like brown noise or white noise or whatever. I don't do like the ocean sounds or anything.
Yeah, it would be like it was a machine with ocean noises every night.
That's not.
And then here I was with I would just put like Adult Swim on.
Yeah.
Oh, the other thing was that he made me turn have the TV like put a timer on the TV so it would turn off because I would just leave it on overnight.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's a real clash there between the two sleeping methods. That's never good.
Yeah.
But that is to say that Shithouse does recall, beware. It might recall some memories.
Yeah, especially the party shit, like that first party.
Mm-hmm.
God, ugh. Like I've told you this, but I don't know if I've told it on the show. Or like I went to a party in what year was that? Sophomore year? Maybe it was sophomore. I think it was sophomore year. It was supposed to be a Halloween party, and I was only going because this girl I was into invited me.
Mm-hmm.
It was.
Is there any other reason that somebody would go to a college party?
Not really. No. But so there was a Facebook invite for it, and it said the party was like at 10 o'clock. I was like, okay.
Oh, I see where this is going.
And so I show up at like, I don't know, 10:45. I'm like that.
Well, that actually doesn't sound that unreasonable.
I didn't think so. And apparently that was really early.
Okay.
For the party.
I'm thinking like 9:55.
No, but apparently that was really early for the party.
Uh-huh.
And she lived with a bunch of other people.
Right.
And they didn't know who the fuck I was. And so I was like, hey, I'm with, someone's like, she invited me. And like, oh, like they're looking at me like, what the fuck? Like, why are you here? Like this. It was very uncomfortable. But like, other than that, the party itself was like basically like that party, except way more artsy. Right. It was like artsy people and a lot more gay people.
Catholic school, that's to be.
Yeah. So like there was like I got invited or I got introduced to like 2 lesbian couples at least at that party. Yeah. It's not,
what time did it actually like start, if you remember?
Maybe like 45 minutes after I showed up.
Okay, that's not too bad.
I know, but it was still.
Did you help set up?
There wasn't much to set up. It was just a lot of people kind of standing around. Somebody was mixing the jungle juice. Yeah, there wasn't. So I didn't. Yeah, it was just uncomfortable. It was just uncomfortable. And I didn't drink either because I drove there.
Right.
And I was nervous about that. So I didn't drink.
Did you bring a backpack?
I did not bring a backpack.
Did you pretend to bring a backpack?
No.
To get out of a conversation?
No.
Okay.
Also, it was cold as shit because it was October in Pittsburgh. And they kept the back door open because people were going out to smoke. So it was cold as shit. There was, I think, attempted beer pong with like a round kitchen table in a corner where there was like no room for it. That didn't make sense.
You gotta make do with what you have.
I wound up talking most of the time with that girl. I tried not to follow her like a lost puppy, but it was pretty difficult because I didn't know anybody. But then this other guy who was in another English class of mine, like the three of us ended up talking. He got really drunk. He was big into emo bands, but like emo bands, like the math rock emo bands. Mm-hmm. Like I think he was wearing like a Godspeed You Emperor like sweater.
That's like hardcore. Not hardcore as in the style of music, but like hardcore as in like, you know.
Yeah, it's like very, very emo like
emo,
yeah. Yeah, it was very uncomfortable, and I never knew when to leave. Like the party was like, it was like 3 a.m. and like not a lot of people were there. Mm-hmm. Yeah, it was not good. It was just
yeah. Sounds kind of par for the course, I think, for how a lot of those go.
Yeah, that was not good.
Unless you're on like the basketball team.
Yeah, and like also like they I remember there was like this sort of like, you know, kind of like odd kind of music going on where it was like dun, 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 dun. I was like, oh yeah, this is like I asked her, I was like, yeah, this is like, you know, some interesting music choice or whatever, you know. And she's like talking about her roommate. She's like, yeah, they've been really into bossa nova lately. You know, I was like, oh, okay.
Oh, that's incredible.
Like, okay, yeah, because it was like very artsy, you know.
Yeah.
I wound up talking to this dude who was blasted out of his mind outside. Because and this was at a point where like I was trying not to follow her the entire time. So I was like, okay, let me just hang out here for a while. I wound up talking to this. He was blasted out of his mind, smoking outside, giving me the entire history of this house because it apparently used to be a frat house. And he was giving me the history. It wasn't currently, no, because it was like these artsy kids were living in it.
Oh, sure.
And like how the houses next door were also frat houses, and he's giving me this entire history of it. And he's like, why are you hanging out here listening to me? And I'm like, I don't know, like I'm just, you know, just hanging out. He's like, oh, all right.
You think he was real, or was he like a ghost that just like exists on that property and like used to be part of the frat house?
You know what? He might have been like an installation or whatever, because somebody else came out, and then he started talking to them, and then he was about to give them the entire history, and he looked to me and he's like, oh, well, you've already heard this. And I was like, yeah, you know what? I think I'm going to go inside for a bit. And then he started telling that person the exact same shit he just told me.
Oh, that's so good.
So he might have come with the house.
That's great.
Yeah. So that was the whole thing. And we did not go out after that party or anything. It did not go well.
Sure. Yeah, predictably.
Yeah. Turns out, you know, just because you like each other's poems in a poetry class does not mean that shit is going to work out, you know? It does not.
Who would have thought?
It does not breed, you know, a successful relationship.
I don't think two poets can be in a relationship.
What about Mary Shelley and what's the other one?
I don't know.
Okay.
Maybe you're the exception. I don't know. Didn't she like marry Frankenstein or something?
No.
Oh.
She wrote it.
I know. See, we've hit the 2-hour mark.
I know. We haven't even talked about this movie.
Yeah. No, so I did want to like get into this a little bit because I thought their like relationship dynamic was very interesting in this movie.
Yeah.
Because like they do have this like sort of like this all-nighter that they spend together. And the reason it starts is because he's been forced out of his room because his roommate was so wasted that he shit himself. Which, by the way, so that happens, right? And yet by lunchtime the next day, he's bringing takeout back into that room.
Yeah, no. You got to air that out for
there's
a
no
while.
way.
Yeah, no.
But that is not that's not relevant to the anything.
Okay, hold on. I know we had all right, so there were shit wars in the dorm in my first year.
Like
literal shit wars between our floor and the other boys' floor in the dorm. They would shit in our shower, and some people would then return fire in their shower. And it culminated in somebody shitting in our dryer.
Oh.
So we couldn't do laundry for a good while.
Who benefits from this?
I don't know. So that was fun.
Oh my God.
I think that's whenever I started going to my grandma's on the weekends and started like slowly moving in to my grandma's. It started.
So was the shit in the dryer noticed before somebody like used it?
I don't know. I think it'd be hard to miss. Well, one, because like it smelled like shit on the floor. So I don't know. I think what happened is they shit in it and then like ran a cycle to like.
Oh.
So the floor smelled like shit. So I think it was kind of hard to miss. So yeah.
The Catholic kids are the craziest.
Yeah. Oh God. So yes, that's when I started going to my grandma's on the weekends. Originally under the pretense of doing laundry, and then I just slowly started moving out. Yeah, in the spring semester. But anyway.
Yeah. I wasn't expecting that one.
Neither were we.
No. Like how long of a duration did this war go on for? Are we talking like months or?
It was like a month. Oof. It was bad though because like so the way the showers worked was that they would all kind of drain into one drain in the center of the showers.
Okay.
So if you shit in the far one, the water from that shower would drain into the drain in the center. So
that's evil.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's really bad. But yeah, no, this movie, I was gonna say, like, I found it interesting because you were talking about how, like, because basically the main character is, he's very much, he hasn't made any friends in school, and he's like talking to his mom and his sister on the phone like every day, and so he does have this like wonderful night with character Maggie. But then like there's this shift the next morning where like they wake up and she's like, I don't know, I guess things are a bit different in like the cold, sobering morning, right?
Yeah.
Right. So like there's like this like detachment between them, but then he becomes like borderline obsessive and like texting her like a million times. Whereas she's like very much trying to like go out like on like about her own business for the day.
Yeah.
Although she's kind of shitty too, because she does basically pretend that she doesn't know him when they encounter each other in that store.
Yeah, but I mean that was after like he texted her a million times.
Flood of text. Yeah.
I would keep my distance also.
Fair. But what was interesting to me about like this, like I guess the screenplay is that like the side characters, like his roommate, acknowledged this obsessiveness, like this behavior. Basically, the roommate says to him, like, you're just like a walking red flag, right?
Yeah.
So it's acknowledged, but by the end of the movie, and I guess it's a spoiler territory, when it's like a couple years later and they do start a relationship, he basically says to her, like, I don't want you to be a shitty partner.
Yeah.
Like in reference to like her past transgressions, like in previous relationships, and I guess sort of the detachment from that day. So it's like they have this moment where he's like acknowledging her past issues, but kind of like pretending that his own didn't happen or aren't a problem. Like his sort of like possessiveness and like obsessiveness.
Yeah. Like
yeah,
we see his growth. Where like he's made friends and become social and like, embrace this college life, right? And we don't necessarily see hers other than the fact that she's like sort of stepped out and like started acting, which is something that she wanted to do but didn't before. But like her maybe transgressions or whatever like were none of his business and had nothing to do with him.
Mm-hmm.
Like she says that she cheated a lot on her high school boyfriend, and it's like, okay, like, are you like, is that something you know are currently doing or plan to do now? Like,
yeah, no, like at the time,
like
yeah, during that conversation, he responded by being like, well, that's how a lot of high school relationships end or whatever.
Yeah.
So he like almost like
he got it in that moment.
He got it. He understood it in that moment, but then later used it against her.
Yeah. And it's like the way she was like sort of acting in college was like just acting like a single person in college, right?
Totally, yeah.
Where she would hook up with people and, you know, date who she wanted and just, you know, live, right? And like a couple years later, like that's now an issue whenever she's saying that she wants to be in a relationship.
Right.
Like she had never like stated that was her interest before. He had just assumed it was, like, with the way that maybe that they were acting with each other.
Yeah, that expectation came from his own head.
Yeah, exactly. And that shit happens. Like the same shit happened in like this same girl I went to this party with, right? Where I thought she was into me, you know? Mm-hmm. Turns out she wasn't. She said she had a boyfriend. It's like, fuck. Okay. Mm-hmm. All right. Well, the vibe I thought we didn't, you know? Like that happens, right?
And to be fair, this was they did spend like quite a long time together that night, and it was like this whole thing, right? It was a thing. It was like
it's one fucking night.
True, yeah, and she even says that.
Yeah,
it's like I was having a good time last night, and I want to have a good time tonight.
Yeah,
that could mean something else, like
right, like
yeah.
It doesn't necessarily mean that like, you know, you're committed all of a sudden. Like it's
more significant for him because it's the first time he's had that experience.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, to like suddenly like almost like shame her for that at the end is weird.
That's why like I'm so hung up on that moment at the end there, that line. Like it just seems to kind of go against a lot of what this movie was going for. Because I feel like if you take that line away, I don't know, I don't have any issues at all with the movie. Like, I think it's a great film. And I still think it's a great film. Like, there is quite a bit of nuance with, like, these two characters and the different stages that they're at, like, in their college experience and even their lives and stuff. But it just kind of felt out of left field, that moment at the end.
Yeah. So when I was looking up, I just wanted to see something in the Wikipedia, but then I quickly glanced over the plot summary. At the end, I just find this interesting, the way whoever wrote this summarized it. Maggie, now taking a chance by appearing in plays, meets up with Alex after a performance and asks to be his girlfriend. Alex agrees on the condition that they both be good partners to each other. Like, if that was what was really going on there, then yeah, it's fine. But that's not what he says.
It's not, although you can kind of sort of interpret it that way, because he says something like, he does flat out say, I don't want you to be a shitty partner. Like, he does say that, but then he also says, like, I'm not expecting us to be like together every moment, or, you know, like basically alluding to his sort of like possessive nature, but it's definitely not on the same level in his mind. Right.
But what's he bringing to the table here?
Yes.
Aside from him not being needy, you know?
Right.
Like,
right. That's missing from that conversation.
Yeah. And it's like, okay, this is supposed to be a moment at the movie. Like, this is your end. And like, you know, but then it's like, okay, well then why even bother including the thing about, you know, her, I don't even want to say promiscuity, because it's not even like, you know.
No, it's
like,
not.
And like, her past, like it's strange. It's a strange inclusion.
Mm-hmm. Especially like when they were literally kids when that happened. Like, they were late high school, maybe first year of college, and this conversation is taking place almost 3 years later, and you'd think there would have been some change in perspective, maybe.
Yeah.
From him.
Yeah.
At that point. So yeah, I don't know. That kind of bothered me. But overall, like, this is a really impressive debut, I think.
Mm-hmm.
Because, like, I don't know, there's something about, I guess, like, it's sort of touching on, like, masculinity when it comes to, like, societal norms. Like, you don't usually see, like, a male character, like crying a bunch in films like this, or, like, there's, like, a level of, like, sensitivity to the character, you know, that he's bringing to the table to, like, this movie. I don't know, like, do you know what I'm saying? Like, you just don't see that as often as maybe you should, which I think has to do with, like, just, like, very basic, like, gender norms and, like, stereotypes and stuff, which I appreciate. Like, it just feels like something that it's, like, autobiographical, right? It feels like a very lived thing. Like, it's like, you know, you write what you know, which I think is definitely what was happening here.
Yeah.
So yeah, I thought it was really good in that way. And also Dylan Galoo was just great.
Oh, she was fantastic.
Yeah. Also a very good Twitter follow. Very, very funny on Twitter.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Just like to mention that whenever that's the case. Yeah, did you have anything else to add about it?
No,
this was kind of all over the place.
It was, but yeah, because it like it just hit very close to home with some things that like I haven't thought about in, you know, however long it's been since I was in college.
Sure.
6 years or whatever. So yeah, it was it was very close in some parts. Just sort of just the all night aspect of it when you're talking to somebody that you think is like, all right, this is going to be it. Like, this is the big movie thing, you know, and then we're going to get together at the end, right? Mm-hmm. And it's just like, that's not how shit works.
Right.
That's not how shit works at all. The difference for me is that, like, I was able to recognize that, you know, and not be weird about it. Thankfully, I wasn't weird about it.
You mean you weren't hopping fences and picking fights with, like, with basketball players?
No. Instead, I just wrote self-deprecating poems instead. You know?
Yeah, there you go. Or subtweeting.
No, I didn't sub. No.
You didn't subtweet in this case. No.
By that point, I had stopped the subtweeting. I learned my lesson freshman year. God. Yeah,
I did want to bring this movie up because his new one, Cha Cha Real Smooth, is coming out in like a week or so. It stars Dakota Johnson.
Interesting.
So yeah, I'm very, very excited for that. I forget the exact date, but it's coming out soon. But as far as next week though, if I don't know, you didn't have anything, right?
I got fucking nothing. Okay,
so I'm very excited about a new HBO series that's coming on June 6th. Well, it'll actually be out by the time this podcast is up. But it's an adaptation of a 90s French film called Irma Vep.
Okay.
Which is in itself, this show is a remake of this movie, and the movie is about, it stars Maggie Cheung, the movie that is, the original, and she's an actor who is going to France to star in a remake of like this vampire thing.
Okay. Hold on.
Yes.
I think I'm already confused.
No, that's the thing. Like it's a story that is like begging to be remade and like have a different perspective to it. Which is to say that I'm just very excited to see like this. So the new HBO series stars Alicia Vikander.
Okay.
And I'm just like really looking forward to see what they do with it. But I was thinking for next week we could check out that original French film.
The original
from 96, Irma Vep.
Okay.
It's actually from the director who did like Personal Shopper and The Clouds of Sils Maria and a bunch of other things. Very prolific French filmmaker. Yeah.
Okay.
So I thought we could check that out. And then if you're into it, then maybe later on give that HBO series a look. I mean, I'll be watching it either way, but yeah. And also it kind of feels like it feels like in line with some of the other stuff we've talked about, in that it's like a story about storytelling in a lot of ways, or about like the industry itself, and like it's like very self-aware. It just like plays with a lot of similar ideas with like things we've talked about in the past. So
yeah, okay.
So yeah, it is current. Like the movie is on HBO, which obviously makes sense because the series will be. It's also on Criterion Channel. I don't know if it's anywhere else. I assume that the way that you're going to be watching, I'm assuming it'll be pretty easy to obtain.
Okay.
Hopefully, like if not, we could always just watch something else. But
Sure.
yeah.
All right. Sounds good. We should wrap this one up.
Yes. Oh, for sure.
Yeah. Just have a couple notes.
Should not be allowed to record after the 2 hours.
No, we really shouldn't. Just have a couple notes here. Quick publishing shout out. I can do professional developmental and line edits, and also book layout and file creation. I guess I haven't mentioned that on this product before, but I've been approached recently about it. So I was like, hey, yeah, I can also do that for you. So contact publishing at DeadEndRoad.co. I'm still in the process of updating the DeadEndRoad Discord server and making that Tumblr page, and they'll be up by the time this episode is live, most likely. Also, I didn't note this, but the live show version of the show, I'm looking at probably July, just based off of my schedule to do that. So early July is looking like whenever that's going to get rolling. So be on the lookout for that. If you have time, please give us a rating at the podcast app if your choice allows you to do so, like Apple Podcasts. And as always, you can follow me on Twitter at DeadEndRoad. Check out the Facebook page at facebook.com/DeadEndRoadTV, twitch.tv/DeadEndRoadTV. Do YouTube search for DeadEndRoadTV, and email us anything at all, like your thoughts about Shithouse or your college experience. Video at DeadEndRoad.co. All right.
You can subtweet us too if you want to.
You can subtweet us. I don't name search. Yeah, we'll check you next week. Thanks for listening.